चालू करूया.
Okay, sir. Let's start.
ओके
Over to you.
ओके.
Yeah.
नमस्कार मंडळी. माझं नाव आहे अविनाश चिंचवडकर. गेल्या अनेक वर्षापासून राहतो बंगलोरमध्ये. सुरुवातीला आपण मराठीमध्ये चालू करू आणि शेवट पण मराठीमध्ये करू, म्हणजे हा आपला बंगलोर मराठीचा कार्यक्रम आहे. आणि मध्ये मग कारण हे पूर्ण टेक्निकल सेशन आहे, त्यामुळे मी स्विच ओव्हर होईल इंग्लिशमध्ये. पण काही संकोच बाळगायचं कारण नाही, कुठल्याही भाषेत तुम्ही प्रश्न विचारू शकता. याचा मूळ उद्देशच असा आहे की आपली जी मराठी कम्युनिटी आहे यांना डेटा सायन्स मशीन लर्निंग बद्दल थोडं बेसिक माहिती मिळावी. आणि पर्टिक्युलर तुमच्यामध्ये जे यंग लोक आहे ज्यांना याच्यामध्ये करिअर करायचं आहे, त्यांना ऍटलिस्ट सुरुवातीची थोडी माहिती मिळेल आणि ते आपलं याच्यामध्ये करिअर पुढचं प्लॅन करू शकतात. एवढं मी नक्कीच कव्हर करेल. हा खूप मोठा सब्जेक्ट आहे, त्यामुळे या 45-50 मिनिटांमध्ये आपण कव्हर करू असं मला पूर्ण आपण कव्हर नाही करू शकत, पण एक ओव्हरव्ह्यू ऍटलिस्ट तुम्हाला मिळेल आणि मग तुम्ही स्वतःही बरंचसं एक्सप्लोर करू शकता, किंवा तुम्हाला वाटलं तर मी तुम्हाला गाईड पण करेल. तर आपण काय बघणार आता याच्यामध्ये. आता मी थोडं स्विच ओव्हर करतो इंग्लिशमध्ये. स्लाइड माझी सगळ्यांना दिसत आहे ना, तुम्ही बघू शकता ना
Oh,
चॅट विंडो मध्ये सांगितलं तरी.
yes.
अच्छा, ठीक आहे. ओके, so let us start. So if you are working in IT industry or not, you will be definitely, you would have heard these words many times. And if you are living in Bangalore, particularly, Bangalore is the IT capital of India. So everyone talks in IT language, and you will see a lot of signboards, you advertise in newspapers on the walls. You will be hearing all these names: data science, machine learning. This is a very hot topic now. But unfortunately, most of us, we don't know what is this. And either there are two kinds of reaction. Either we are afraid of it, we try to be away from this technology. We think this is something which is very high tech, and only scientists and those kind of people work with these technologies, and it is not for common layman. Even if you are a programmer working in an IT company, you will be still scared to work on this technology. This is one reaction. Second is you are too much fascinated and you just spend a lot of money on this, join some expensive courses. So as you know, IT industry has another side, like you will see a lot of courses now offered by many companies, like training institutes. Universities also offering many courses and hugely expensive. So do you need to spend this kind of money in this training? So that's what, if unless you know this, what is this about, you will not be able to take the right decision. So today's session, my idea is to answer some of the basic questions. And if you are not a IT person, still I will feel you will gain something from this, because you will know what is this all they are talking about, where I can fit in this. So you may not be a programmer, but you may have some good business knowledge. So still you can fit into this ecosystem. And let me tell you, the next future is data science, machine learning. Next at least 10 years, it is not going to reduce, it is going to increase only. It will become more and more complex, more like robust. And that's why it is more important to know what is this. So these are the questions I will try to answer. And this is what everybody has in mind. What is analytics? What is data science? What is artificial intelligence? We hear these words many times. What is cognitive computing? What is machine learning? What is deep learning? Then what is the difference between BI? We have been doing business intelligence from long time. So what is the difference between that and data science? What are the different types of analytics? What is a model? What is supervised learning? What is unsupervised learning? So we will not get into code level, but I will give you some ideas of various kind of models. So at least you will be a bit comfortable after this session. Okay. Now some of you may know Many of you might have been working on big data, Hadoop, Spark. That was the best technologies a few years back. And knowing Hadoop and Spark was a big achievement. But Hadoop, big data has a limited role to play in this pyramid. If you see, it will just enable the data engineering part. You will have the data, but what do you do with that data? And that's why machine learning will come into picture. Analytics also plays a role in this area. We will see that. And data science is on top of that. Data science is if you know, like many universities are offering this as like a degree course now. Degree, then postgraduate courses. It has become a branch in itself. Such as importance of this subject. So just remember this big data comes at the bottom of the pyramid. Then we have machine learning, and data science is not only machine learning, but it has a lot of other things like visualization. We will talk about that in as we just progress further. So what is how data science is shaping the world? You might be reading all this thing in the newspapers and blogs that AI and machine learning is changing everything. The way we were doing our work, it is changing now. Healthcare, banking, manufacturing, cyber security. Everywhere you can see the AI. Now, many of you may have Google Home, Alexa, Siri at home, and already you have been using that, but it is all built on the machine learning. There is no field, there is no area where machine learning is not impacting. Sooner or later, we'll face machine learning in our life. There are a lot of stories how Obama, this has become an old story now, how Obama won the elections last time only because of big data analytics, machine learning. So he did not visit all the constituencies, but only selected one based on the recommendation from the machine learning. There have been a lot of stories. So it is like as I said, it is influencing every part of life, even politics. It has entered. Now, these few buzzwords. If you are working in IT industry for a long time, you know it's all about the buzzwords. If you know the words, at least the words and the meaning, it makes a huge difference. Because if you go to some meetings, seminars, workshop, people will be talking about all these things without even sometimes knowing the meaning of those things. So definitely it's worth to know these terms. Artificial intelligence. What is the artificial intelligence? At the end, it is trying to mimic the human behavior, human intelligence. We know that it is not possible at all to build an intelligence like human intelligence. Nobody can do that. But it is going very similar to that. Like it is very uh, close to that. So we built some algorithm system which will exhibit human-like behavior. I will give some examples also. If you enter the store, any store, like for example, your image, like picture will be taken, and based on that, there will be some analysis done at the back end, and they can figure out like what you are going to buy. For example, just example, they can predict what you are looking for. So that is what artificial intelligence. If you go to any small shop, the salesperson is doing the same thing, looking at your attire, your language, your appearance. He knows what probably you are looking for. So that's what artificial intelligence is doing automatically using machine learning. Now, machine learning is a subset of AI. If you can see that, actually, it is the methodology to implement AI. So it has it tools and models and framework to do all this thing. And we will get into details like that is our topic today. So don't worry about this at this point. Deep learning is another subset of machine learning. And this is the area which is increasing a lot now. And this is Google has made it very popular. TensorFlow and all these libraries Google is developing. And this is the next. This is the future actually, deep learning, and people are using more and more deep learning. It is more like a human brain, like you have layers in the human brain. Neural network is the framework used for deep learning. It also has layers. It works like a human brain. So the processing, once the processing is done from one layer, it goes to next layer, and that's how it is refined. And at the end, you will get output which is very similar to the what the human brain can do. Simple examples are like if you feed the images, that is very common now. If you feed the images, it can classify whether it is a cat or it is a dog or what kind of animal it is, or it is a human being. So that is actually happening through deep learning. Okay. Now the next topic, business analytics. Analytics is not new actually. It has been people are there. I know working for decades in the analytics area. So this is not a new concept, and it has been the most useful thing to happen to the businesses because analytics can transform your data and give you some good input actually, so you can take future decisions. If you know, for example, if you're running a small shop, you do analytics and you know this is the item which is actually consumed most during the weekend. So that insight if you get, you can stock more items like this. And that's how the analytics has become a part of our life. And it is decision driven, like it is not a passive technology. It drives some decision based on the existing data. Sales data is a very simple example of that. Many of you may be working on BI. So for you, it is a natural progression into data science because already you know how to use the data, how to process the data, how it can affect the decision process. So believe me, like this will be more like extension to your knowledge, and it's worth pursuing. So this is business analytics. Okay, some of you may know this already, but I will just touch base. This is important to understand. This has two parts. One is past and future. So there are four types of analytics roughly. Descriptive analytics is the most commonly used. Even we use unknown knowingly. What we do is we analyze historical data and understand that and try to like interfere some patterns. For example, if we are getting now that this example is not good in this lockdown period, but if you are going to office every day, if you are getting late, you can analyze this is the time, this is where I'm daily stuck, like this is the junction where there is most of the traffic, and this is the time where there is a traffic. So you improve your behavior, you change your timing of the office, and you start early or start later, and that's how you can reach the office early. Diagnostic is again extension of descriptive. So you try to understand, like you not only descriptive is giving you data, but diagnostic you are trying to understand, as I explained, what has happened, why it has happened, and how do I can improve. More like a diagnostic. More, this is a medical term, as you know. That doctor is trying to diagnose like what has happened to you. Similarly, you are trying to diagnose some of the business problems. If your sale is down during this month, what has happened? So more like a diagnostic. And this has been, as you can see, it is a past technology. So this has been used for decades. People are using it. And this is not a new thing. This has been happening for a long time. What is new is the predictive analytics. So, so what here the difference is, if you know the past, can you predict the future? Just to give a simple example again, office example. If some person is coming every day at 8 o'clock in office for last 6 months, you can predict that tomorrow also he will come at 8 o'clock, or day after tomorrow also he will come at 8 o'clock. Exceptionally, he may come late, but You can predict. That's how this predictive analytics also works. So you know the data, you understand the pattern, and you can predict. Of course, it is not that simple. It has a lot of methodology. Statistics is there, formulas and models are there. We will talk about models later. But it is nothing but it is predicting the future. And that's why it is more valuable. So it is not passive, it is active. It is actually telling you something you should do. And machine learning and data science fits into this predictive analytics. And the next one is prescriptive. So based on the, if you predict this is what going to happen, then you can prescribe something. You should do this. Your sale is going to be down in the next month. Just do something. Do this thing. You bring this thing in your store. Give some offers to the customers. Provide some discounts. And this is what the recommendation. It will the prescriptive type of analytics is doing. And this is the new future. So the same concept explain a little bit more here. So descriptive analytics, if you know the Google Analytics or Omniture is the kind of tools. So most important term here is what happened. So descriptive analytics tell you what happened. So all the kind of reports which are generated in the companies, it is descriptive analytics. So any report, any kind of BI is a descriptive analytics. Diagnostic is like why these things happen and how do I prevent it. That's a diagnostic. We discussed about that. And there are tools actually to do that this thing. It will tell you, you can drill down further and you find out like this is the reason it has happened. There was a lockdown, so there is a sale is less. Very obvious reason, but in a normal day-to-day life also you can use this diagnostic analytics. Predictive, as I told you, what will happen. Everybody is interested, including like human being, we are all interested to know what will happen in future. When this lockdown will be over and when we will go to office, what will happen in next 6 months? What will be our sales? So everything is interested, everybody is interested in what will happen. And that's why predictive analytics has become more popular. I will show you some simple example which are not really great to be applied to any company, but it will tell you the capability, like what we can do with predictive analytics. Once you know, you analyze your data and you predict what is going to happen, then you are very close to prescriptive analytics. Then you can tell what you should do in order to maximize goods outcome, also prevent the bad outcomes. And this is the what we want to achieve everybody. So predict the future and attack it. Like if something is wrong, going to be wrong, just stop it there itself. And to be very honest, like it's not that straightforward or simple. Most of the times we have some limitation, like any model, whatever good it may be, it will not be 100% accurate. So it will always, even if your model is 60% accurate, it is considered as a good model because predicting future is not simple. And it depends on so many factors like your data quality. As you know, data quality is very important. If you don't have good quality data, your prediction will also be not correct. Let us speed up a little bit. There are so many things to cover. So there is a term called cognitive computing. Again, it is actually simulating the human thought process in a computerized model. It is self-learning algorithm that uses data mining, pattern recognition, NLP, natural language processing. Text analytics is another big area. So again, here the goal is to mimic the human brain. Everybody is trying to do, and we have heard about IBM Watson. It can play chess and it can actually beat the grandmasters. It is using deep learning algorithm, neural networks, which is part of deep learning. And the more data it can process huge number like data, huge volume of data. The more data you feed it to it, it will learn more and it will predict more accurate. And it works like a human brain, as I told you earlier. So these are, if you see, they are very similar terms actually, only used in a different context. Goal is to achieve the accuracy as a human brain. Now, just what is the data science? Now we'll define our important term. So data science is a blend of various tools, algorithm, machine learning techniques with a goal to discover hidden patterns from the data. And the goal is to make prediction. We are touch base all this thing. So we are trying to make predictions so that business can take some decisions. So you are trying to save the business from the future loss maybe, or trying to improve the business. So that's what you are trying to do. This I had told you a little bit, but we'll try to understand. BI is has been always an important technology. BI try to analyze the existing data, the historic data. It helps you to, many of these things will be useful in even data science. The data engineering part will not change. So you will need data for even building machine learning models, and you have to take the data from various sources. So all the ETL knowledge, whatever you have, will be still useful and relevant. You have been already, like some of you must be working on BI, so you know how to get data from various sources, prepare it, query it, prepare dashboards. Still you have to do this because that is the first step to understand the data. So data engineering part is still relevant, but data science is going to taking the next step. So it is not just understanding the data, it is predicting. And this is very important. So I am saying again and again, when it will happen, what will happen, how it will happen. Even time series data, you can predict when it will happen, something, if it has to happen. So and that's why it is very important, and it is getting the momentum now. Everybody is using data science, machine learning. Now, machine learning, as you know, has become a buzzword in all industries. Everybody is talking about machine learning. There are a lot of institutes training machine learning, and they are trying to make huge money out of this because they know it is a buzzword now. But you can learn it, you can understand it, and then you decide what to do next, how to learn, where to learn, how much I can invest. So before that, I will advise you to understand, learn, and then you take your next decisions. So machine learning again is a set of tools and methods that interfere, like that infer the patterns and extract insight. It is actually a set of algorithm that has capability to do prediction and classification. We'll see what are the different type of problems machine learning can solve. So we are using this word algorithm for a long time. It's not a new word, but machine learning uses a different word called model. So algorithm is a model here because it is more intelligent. We'll see how it happens. So for example, a simple machine learning system can be used to classify new email messages into spam and non-spam. If you do it manually, it is a huge work, as you know. Somebody has to like monitor each of the mail and just understand whether it is, and just classify it manually. Even if you have to write a program to do that, that itself is a huge work. You will have to put so much logic in that, but with machine learning, you can do it very quickly. Why it is called machine learning? Again, a question. So I'm trying to answer some of your future, like prospective questions also. I know like some of you may ask this question. So that's why I included some of the question. Why it is called machine learning? Because here the algorithm works like a machine. We are training the model with a set of data, and based on the learning, it will predict the results of the new set of data. So once you train the model, there's no human intervention. it will work, it will do it on its own based on its learning. So it's quite self-sufficient, self-learning. Like a machine, it works. Automatically, it will do uh, the prediction part. But as you know, any machine also needs some kind of maintenance. Even machine needs a maintenance, and machine needs some kind of retraining. So same thing applies here also. So here also you have to train your models, retrain with new set of data. We will get there soon. This is a very important term. If you understood machine learning, just try to understand this model. As I told you, it is nothing but algorithm. No need to get afraid. No need to get. Even if somebody is using a lot of uh, buzzwords, just understand it is nothing but an algorithm. You used to write some code in other languages like Java's, .NET. This is also written in some other language. It will look like another piece of code, but it is a different way of writing the code. It is different way of doing the things. It is a bit more intelligent than the traditional programs because it can derive the pattern from the training data set. So we have to, you will hear these words many times, training and testing data set. So whatever input data you have, you will split into two data set. One is training data set, another is testing data set. So with training data set, you will train the model. So it will understand with the training data set that this is the pattern. And the testing data set will be used to test that, whether whatever you have learned is correct or not. I have a slide on that. We'll get into more details. But this is a new concept, no? You will agree that there's no other language like our traditional languages we have been working. They don't have this kind of uh, features. So learning something on your own and then you predicting something, which is a new concept, and that's why it is unique. And then there are few more terms in the machine learning world: supervised learning, unsupervised learning. We will talk about that. No need to worry about this. Everything is logical actually. Data science is not a rocket science. Machine learning is not a rocket science. It is all logical thinking. The more logical you can think, it is more easy. Okay. So in case there, you have to just remember few words. Supervised learning. So what happens in supervised learning is the data is already labeled. The patterns are already known and the model is trained accordingly. For example, if you have some data already classified, I will take the same example because it is simple. Email message, you have to classify in spam and non-spam. So already you have suppose thousands of emails which have been classified as spam and non-spam. So you already have the training data set. You feed that into the model will understand in which scenario it is classifying as spam, in which scenario non-spam, and that is the training part. So already it has been, the data is already labeled. Next time a new email comes, it can actually understand whether it is a spam or non-spam because it has learned already. It has formed some rule. It is nothing but forming some rules actually, which are invisible to us. We cannot see that. The model has learned something, some rules it has derived already. And based on that, it will classify the new email also. Now, the next one is unsupervised model. This is a bit different because there's no training of the model. We don't know any patterns. We just have data and we have to understand the pattern. So for example, categories, like we have the list of movies and you want to categorize it to action movies, horror movies, comedy. So it will just group the similar kind of items and then it will categorize. I have some examples also. I will show you how it happens. If you ask me, if you understand this supervised learning and unsupervised, this is the basic of machine learning. You are still, from here you can learn very quickly. This is another kind of reinforcement model. This is comparatively very new kind of models. There are very less people maybe working on this. but it works on the reward system. So if your prediction is correct, you will get a reward. If it is wrong, you will get some more kind of a penalty. So continuously you are improving your model and making it more perfect. This is a very special type of model, evolutionary model. So we will not discuss about that. Most of the models in the current world is supervised or unsupervised, and reinforcement modeling is just starting. Yeah, this is important. What are the different type of models? What we do with this machine learning models? So regression. Don't worry about technology. Also, just try to understand what does it mean. Technology you can learn later. If you know the concept, you can learn it later. So regression is you are predicting a numeric number actually. For example, housing price is a good example. You want to predict what will be housing price in Bangalore next year. What will be the different factors affecting it? So population, the rent in that area, rates in that area, even temperature, job scenario, so many things like migration of people, available like assets, how many apartments are available. So there are so many factors. All this will be input variables. And based on that, you will predict what will be the housing price. And you have the historical data also. Actually, you are just building a simple equation based on these various parameters. I will show you example also. This is the simplest type of machine learning algorithm model. And you can, if you want to learn, you can start with this actually, because this is the most simplest. Classification is again, as we discuss, it can classify the data into multiple classes, categories. If it is only binary classification, like only two classes, then it is called logistic regression. Example we had just discussed is spam and non-spam folder is like a binary classification, but you can have more than two categories. That is possible. Clustering is called unsupervised learning, that automatically form the clusters of similar things. So automatic classification. So you are trying to, within the data set, you are trying to build a cluster, similar kind of people. If you know the similar clusters, then you can actually do targeted marketing and sales. There are a lot of use cases. So for example, people that buy home, most likely to buy new furniture. So this is actually derived from the clustering. Recommendation. This has been used by all this e-commerce website, Amazon, Flipkart. They are using already this. So based on your clicks, your rating, your purchases, they are giving you recommendation. If you log into, for example, Amazon, it will give you a lot of recommendation, what you should buy based on your previous history. So that is another type of model. So these are the four most common models. And you will see it is not that complex to understand. Maybe the actual model building may be a bit complex, but the concepts are not that complex. So how the machine learning cycle, I will ensure that you at least we have 10 minutes for questions. So accordingly, I will pace my presentation. Something if I feel it is not that relevant, I will go fast on that. So machine learning, how it works. So as I told you, data engineering, data gathering and preparation. And believe me, like still like in a machine learning project also, 80% of the effort goes on the data engineering part. Getting the data from various sources, cleaning the data, processing, validating, transformation, sampling, all these things are takes the most of the time. 80% of the your effort will go into data engineering part. And this is the known skill, like it is not a new skill. Already many people know this. And only the 20% will be on the model building and deployment. So once you have the data, you train the model, create a model, train model, test it, evaluate, understand whether it is giving you correct accuracy. And then you deploy it, deploy the model, monitor it, improve it. and expose it for other applications. These are generally the 4 steps. Problem definition I missed actually. This is the most important part. So if you don't know what problem to solve, then all these other steps are not useful. So first important thing is to define the problem, what problem you want to solve. And it should be a business related problem. Machine learning is and data scientist role. We will talk about that. He is a very business oriented person. He should understand the business. I have spoken about this, so I will skip this. We have talked about little bit on the training and testing of the model. So we extract the features. Features are nothing but various variables, various type of variables, and we decide like which are the most important variables from the data. Build a model, and then you test the model with the. So generally, this is a 70% is training data, or even 80% is training data, and 20% is maybe testing data. So most of the data you use for training the model, and only 20% you will be using for testing the model. And you measure the errors. So your accuracy is, for example, I told you 50%. Then you know the 50% is error margin. Improve your model further, and that is a biggest effort go there also. And once your model stabilizes, you are happy with the results. You will never get 100% accuracy, as I told you. But if you get 70-80% is also very good. Then you can actually plan for deployment of the model. So these are the different steps, like collect the data, prepare the data, choose the algorithm, how to choose, like what kind of business problem you are going to solve. That will tell you what algorithm to use. Then trade the model, test the model, use it. That's all. So what is unsupervised learning? This is supervised learning. We spoke about supervised learning, where you have the data already, you are training the model and you are testing the model. But unsupervised learning, as I told you, there's no model, there's no like patterns known. So left hand side, you can see right raw data is there. Your algorithm is just classifying into some clusters. So it is able to identify there are around 5 clusters. So these are similar kind of people, for example. And based on that knowledge, you can business can utilize it for many reasons. They can launch new campaigns targeting those specific set of people. Yeah, classification is the simplest problem, and in the day-to-day life also we classify. Even we meet some person, we say he is good, he is not good, he is friendly, he is not friendly. So we always classify. We classify people, we classify things. So classification is a universal problem, and machine learning actually help us to do automatically. So there are some examples they are given. Just I will take one example. Classification of movies categorized into horror, comedy, family, action, and it is very helpful. If you're you like action movies, you don't want to watch all other movies. You will only go to that category and look at the movies in that category. There are many methods. At this stage, I will not suggest you to worry too much about this. These are just different kind of models: k-nearest neighbors, decision trees, logistic regression, random forest. Don't worry about this too much. Understand the concept first. Then details you can learn anytime. I will take one example to just make it clear. So if you, from the name, you will not understand anything, but if you see the example, it will be simple. So we have already 5 movies classified: comedy, action, action, comedy, action, and we want to categorize the last FG. That movie is not categorized. So how you will do that? And that's how the KNN is coming into picture. So we are trying to find out the nearest movies, and this is statistics, little bit statistics involved. So we are finding out that these are 3 movies. The first 3 movies are the distance is less from this particular movie. Then how to find the distance? Don't worry about that. There are formulas and some methods are there. where you can find out distance between the two movies. So based on this, we can see that A, B, B, C, and C, D are the nearest neighbors for the FG. And out of these three, two are action movies. Then there is a big chance that this movie will be action movie. This is how it works. It's very rough. It's not very accurate. Don't try to validate this, but this will explain you the concept at least very well. That's how it works. So you are trying to find out the nearest neighbors. Regression, I told you, uh, final goal is to, if you look at this formula, don't even read all this thing. We know this formula, horsepower is equal to torque into speed divided by 5 to 5 2. So how this 5 to 5 2 is coming? This is called a regression weight. This is a constant. And this is what we arrive with the regression. And if you have this formula, whatever combination of torque and speed you get, you can find out the horsepower. Exactly that is what regression is trying to do. It is trying to form an equation. Recommendation, as I told you, there are different, I will bit speed up this because there are more important patterns, things to discuss. Recommendation is based on a user base, similar type, trying to find out similar users, trying to find out the similarity between atoms and similar atoms. If somebody is buying, then you group them into one group. And slope one recommendation based on the ratings. Let us skip this. We'll get into, I think there are more important chapters and some time for the questions also. Clustering is like trying to group the data into different groups. No need to worry too much. Yeah. Example of clustering, you can actually have data and you are just trying to create 3 clusters. That's what you are doing in clustering. Okay. Because I want to cover few important things. So important steps in any data science project is data engineering, as I told you, model building and prediction, visualization. Visualization is very important. Whatever you do, like at the back end, you get some prediction, but if you are not able to show it in a user-friendly way, it is not useful. So visualization is another big area where you can actually think about a career. If you want to, you like visualization, you can think about that. That is also a huge area. Then deployment and retraining, train the model again and again. Some of the models can be self-learning also. The neural network particularly, it actually learns from it is self-learning. Okay, these are important things now. I will spend 5 minutes on this and then we'll take questions. So what are the different languages used for machine learning? And some of you may be knowing this. So most common languages are R and Python. R is a statistical language, more like it has been used for many years, but it has become popular now. It's a very good language and you can do a quick model building, testing. I personally like R very much, but Python is getting more popular now. It has becoming the #1 language now. And if you want to learn machine learning better, you start with Python itself. Because all the deep learning is in the Python. All the libraries are there in the Python. And it is very good actually in production also. Deployment also you can do in production. It can scale. Apart from this, there are some languages like SAS, MATLAB, Octave, Julia, Scala, and Java. But these are used in small pockets, not like R or Python. Majority of the market share is in R and Python. Plus, I discuss about visualization. So visualization, you may be knowing these tools, Tableau, Power BI, ClickView, Spotfire. These are the tools used in machine learning project also. D3 is another good library. Visualization is very important. Unless you build a visualization layer, client will not be able to understand what you are trying to say. Okay. Coming to this important thing, data scientist. So what is a data scientist? Who can become a data scientist and why to become a data scientist? And that's, I think those are the interesting questions all of you may have. So data science is a combination of many things. Like you should have some statistical knowledge, you should have some programming knowledge, and you should have some good like business acumen. You may not be a business analyst, but you understand the business. You have been interacting with the business people. You understand their problem. So that's why it is very important role actually. It is a combination of multiple skills. So you should be able to understand, talk to business, understand their problem, or even if something they are not formalized, but you should be able to derive that problem, then solve that problem using statistical method, programming language, knowledge, and then give them some kind of a result and output, like prediction. And that's why it is a like multi-skilled role, and that's why it is the highest paid job in last few years. If you see any survey, data scientist is the highest paying job. It is most of the requirement you see now in India also we can see a lot of requirement for data scientists because very difficult to get this kind of skills. So you can do some training and learn maybe the technique, how to write a model, how to build a model, how to test it. But if you don't understand what kind of problem we have to solve, then it is not useful. So you should have that kind of maturity, experience also to understand which business problem to solve, and then the techniques to solve that, and impact the business. So actually, you are helping the business to achieve their goals or even exceed their goals, and that's why they are highly paid and the best job in the recent years. So the job description you will find out very similar. So some people think, is it like you should have statistical background? You should know, but you should not need not be a statistician. If you are a programmer, that is also not sufficient because it is not only programming. It is not like a traditional programming. It is something different. You are trying to solve a problem, business problem. So this is a data scientist role. It is different than the data analyst because data analyst is just trying to understand the data, what happened in the past. But data scientist is, as I told you, trying to forecast also, predict also. And that's why it is an important role, very important role. And data scientists are actually changing the way the business are being run. Because of shortage of time, I cannot give you more example, but there are many cases where they have changed the way. Like if you enter any store, for example, how the store is arranged, which section should come first, which section should go at the end, which section should be adjacent to another section. All these decisions are driven by data science. And that's how it will impact your business. And that's why it is a very important role, data scientist. I think I will finish here because I want to give 5 minutes for question answers. This is my contact details. I will share this also on the group also. If you have any query, you want to know more, any question, you can always drop me an email. My mobile number is also there. Try to send first query on the email so I get some time to respond to you. Then you can also call me. With that, I will reserve 5 minutes for questions. So you can either type your questions. Let me see, just 1 minute.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Very well set of information provided by you. So I
Okay.
guess there are few questions in the chat.
Okay.
Should I read it out or are you able to see the chat?
I'm just trying to open. Yeah, I can see the question. Maybe I'll take one by one.
Fine, fine, okay.
Thanks, Kapil. Let me just go through. Okay. I will start with this. This is a good question. Looking at the COVID data, can we predict when it will end or would be more than current? Yeah, it's a good question. And exactly, there is a lot of people, even government of India also running some competition now. White House is running some competition. There is a forum called Kaggle. Kaggle is running one competition looking at the data. Uh, Whether can we predict when it will end? But as you know, this is not something which for which we have data already. Even if we have data, we are using for some other diseases and we are trying to predict. So the effort is already going on to predict that. NLP in India is in a huge challenge. There are too many languages and dialects leads to failure. Okay. Speech voice analytics is a good example. Yes, it has been working like speech and voice analytics. People are doing it actually. Understanding the from the speech voice, you are converting into text and trying to do the prediction. Can it also go through the content? Yes. The email example that you are given, can it go through the content of the email and send automated? Yes, definitely it can go through it. Text analytics is very interesting area. Even I personally like it. So if you can read the content of the any document or email, and you can actually build some rules to process it, that is very much possible. If you are not from programming and IT field experience, but learn machine learning. So I will tell you, learning machine learning, the languages, it is more like any other programming language. That learning is not that difficult, but how you will apply it to which business problem you will solve is more important actually. So you should have some domain knowledge or at least some business acumen to understand the business problem. Without that, just learning the technique is not useful. That's what I feel. Best institution for data scientist courses. There are so many institutions. I will suggest you look for online courses like Udemy, Coursera, and that those kind of thing. Because don't spend too much money. My personal advice: people have been spending like huge money just to learn and get some certificate. Don't do that. It's not worth actually. You try to learn some, do some online courses, understand the concept, and then if you are really interested, then you do some expensive course maybe. On higher side, can we say adding computational power to statistics? Yes, this is a good definition of machine learning. Vaibhav is saying that we are adding computational power to statistics. Yes, very much. To question, Python sucks handling very large data. How to deal with this? But now that is not the case. Python is used for most of the big data handling nowadays. With Spark, if you use Spark, Spark can handle huge data set now. How many ML engineers industry required for 100 application developer? Is it overhype? This cannot be defined as a percentage. It is not overhype actually. People are seeing benefits and that's why they are hiring now machine learning engineers. And machine learning engineers will be always short in any company. If you go, there will be always shortage of people because not everybody will have this kind of multi-skill like person we need for that. How much time it will take to learn? Yeah, basic concept you can learn in a few months maybe, but then you have to make a decision what to do with that knowledge. Worth learning, definitely I will encourage you to learn. Which platform should we use to build algorithm machine learning on the application externally? I have not understood completely, but if you are familiar with cloud, so nowadays it is quite easy to build a machine learning algorithm if you know the cloud. Azure and all, they provide you studios, AWS, Amazon also. You can actually write all your algorithm there and test it. And you can actually have standalone also. You can on your laptop, you can set up R and Python and you can do that. So I think I answer all your question. Any other question anyone has? Later on also you can, okay, there's one more question. How people can deal with the situation that we learn and complete the courses, but COVID may delay the projects. So don't think it in a short term. it should not be your short-term goal to learn machine learning. Think it as a long-term goal. Then you don't have to worry about for a year or something, because this is going to stay for years, as I told you. At least next 5 to 10 years, machine learning will be there and it will only increase. So just keep some long-term view, and definitely it will benefit you. Along with that, I will suggest you develop your knowledge on cloud also, because now most of the machine learning projects are being executed on the cloud. So if you can build a cloud plus a data science knowledge, that is a very, it will be in demand definitely. Any other question? Okay, I think Kapil, we are done with all the questions. Just want to thank you and the Bangalore Marathi Association. It's a great occasion to talk to our team, and this is very good actually. I liked this session very much.
Yes, thanks a lot, sir. I guess all have got answers for their questions. Thanks a lot for providing this information. I guess most of you might have got some overview on data science and machine learning. I guess in future might be some participants or members may have few questions. So
Yeah,
I guess they might get in touch with you.
sure.
You have provided your email ID or by on phone, or you are available on Telegram group,
Yeah,
or anyone can reach out to me as well, so that I can direct you to sir.
yeah.
So that's what I guess. Yeah, we are also nearing our end time,
Yeah.
so we will close the session now. So thank you all for joining in. Thanks, sir, once again for providing this valuable information. It really appreciable. Yes,
Thank you very
thanks a
much.
lot.
Thanks, Kapil.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you all. See you tomorrow in the next session with some new topic and new learnings. Till then, bye. Good night. Bye, sir.
Okay. Good
Thank you
night.
all. Bye. Good
Bye.
night.